going on, everyone? This is the Popcorn Heroes review of WandaVision, a Disney Plus MCU story. Nice. There we go.
Yeah.
I am Armando. With me, as always, is Pedro.
Hello.
And God's gift, Orlando.
Yo, what up, guys?
What's up, guys? What's up? All right, gents. Today, we will be talking about the latest MCU entrant, WandaVision. A Disney Plus original series that is hopefully only one season.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And also, it is the first chapter of the multiverse saga, which we'll get into it.
Yes.
Anyways,
don't get started.
Anyways, let's start how we always do. Pedro, give us the premise of WandaVision.
All right. So, as usual with every MCU, you need to watch pretty much all the MCU stuff for you to understand this. So this takes place 3 weeks after Avengers Endgame, and it deals with, you guessed it, all the Avengers Endgame fallout. So, this show starts off very, very mysterious with Wanda and Vision living a perfect suburban life in the town of Westview. But everything's black and white, and everything feels like it's a Dick Van Dyke / I Love Lucy television series with all its trope and laughing reel and everything. And then from there, it just gets weirder. And they soon start to suspect that not everything is as it seems.
Wow, Pedro, I felt like I was watching it. Beautiful.
Thank you.
All right. Now, what we do is, before we get into the spoiler talk, we do our very short 1 out of 5. And our small thoughts. Orlando, what are your small thoughts?
So as the intro was going on and as Pedro was giving his premise, I was contemplating. I was like, okay, a 3, I like it. A 2.5, I kind of like it. 2, I don't like it. Where am I sitting? This is going to be a weird number I'm going to throw out here, but a 2.7? 2.7, yeah. Pedro's shaking his head. 2.73, whatever. How you want to, if you want to.
2.73. You're just going down more decimal points. I see.
Yeah. No. 2.7 or a 3. I like it. Right? It's a good. I think it's a good show. I love the sitcom version. The sitcom zaniness of it. I just think at the end of the day, the payoff wasn't worth it. I think as it left the sitcom realm and became more Marvel-ish, it lost me actually, because it went into generic territory that we've seen too many times already, and nothing. I don't think there was anything at stake that made it worth the payoff. So there are moments of like, oh, this is interesting. There are moments of like, oh, this is really cool. Overall, though, I feel like let down. And because of that letdown, I have to like give it what I'm giving it. But I think it's one of Marvel's most original like takes on superheroes. I think it is refreshing. I think it is like nice that they took this risk and changed it up. I just think at the end of the day, there is like, it felt like not the same, but The Last Jedi. When you start somewhere and then you end and then nothing changes, there's not really much going on in terms of like the great scheme of things, and then we're just left with the same universe, more or less, So because of that, I give it what I give it. But I think it deserves all the praise for what it did. I'm not trying to take it away from that. I just think that the payoff this doesn't warrant a show. That's all I gotta say. It didn't warrant 8 episodes, in my opinion. That's it.
I'm gonna have to agree with you, man. But that's a shitty score you gave it. So I don't know what the fuck is a 2.73, 85, 65, you know?
Yeah, he's trying to fucking count to pi.
I give it a 3. I mostly agree with everything you said, Orlando. Like, the show was good, but there was just no payoff. Like, it just didn't go anywhere. It didn't feel like I spent my time wisely watching it. Like, there was some really good episodes. I'm like, oh my god, it's starting. It's about to hit off, and then it just kind of created off. Like, so I watched this whole series for that. This is the evolution of what, you know, just Scarlet Witch, which we already knew she was powerful. So it's kind of like, now I know she's confirmed to be powerful. Cool. It's kind of like, all right, cool. Like, there's just we got the character development of her and her grief and dealing with it. But I mean, I could have just had a conversation with her talking to, I don't know, fucking Rhodey or something, talking about shit, man. Like, I feel so sad or something like that, you know. And I've been dealing with grief, and I would just need a quick interaction to know what Wanda has been doing for the last X amount of months. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Just the show didn't go anywhere, dude. I thought it was just the entire show is major filler, in my eyes. It's not bad. Don't get me wrong. I liked how it was filmed. It was well acted. It's just fucking the biggest filler ever. I don't know.
I see.
What about you, Pedro?
Interesting. Mm-hmm. I see. So,
Yo, Pedro's been giving shit. Pedro has been giving shit unworthy ratings lately. I think Pedro needs to have a sit down with the executives. He's been throwing off our rating system.
He's been bought, dude. He's been bought by all these studios.
Yes.
And we just don't know, you know. He does the deals on the side.
I've been using all that money to do something.
That's how he got a house, dude. That's the only way he explains it. The only way.
That's the only way to explain it.
If you do the math, the shitty ratings came out when I got the house. You're right.
So it's just like in the middle of the pandemic. Who buys a house in the middle of the pandemic, dude? Yeah. Only the person who's been bought off. It just makes sense, right?
He got bought off. That's what it was. He got bought off.
I give this show a
fuck this guy.
4 out of 5. I really liked it. I agree, but here's the thing. I agree
this
with
guy. This guy, like this Pedro. I live with Pedro, and I've known Pedro for 15 years. This nigga likes every fucking thing. Hey, like, hey, here's some garbage. You want to eat it? Yeah, sure. Hey, I got some leftover piss. You want to drink it? Yeah, sure. This nigga loves everything. This nigga takes everything. I have never heard Pedro say a bad word about anything in my life.
Shit, you should listen to my last solo couple episodes. I shitted on all those movies. I
have.
Yeah. But yes, most of the time I appreciate things for what they're going for. But so back to my fucking review. I give it a 4 out of 5 because I really liked it. I agreed pretty much with everything you guys said, but I enjoyed it more still. I still enjoyed it. Even though I agree the ending definitely did not stick the landing. It did feel a little filler-ish, but I felt like it did such a good job of taking a risk. It should have took more risks, in my opinion, as well. But it took a risk, and it did something completely different, especially starting off the first half in such a bizarre, abstract way. I thought it was really awesome. I thought it was a really good slow burn build-up to... And it was one of those like water cooler talk type shows, which I miss those shows, where every week you're like, oh, what's next? You start hypothesizing, you start guessing. The problem is we got a little excited in our fucking guessing, and we over-guessed shit that was like, yo, we're not doing all that yet, or maybe not at all. But I still liked the idea that I was excited about a show every week. and it did so much different things. It introduced some pretty interesting characters, and my only gripe of why I wouldn't give it a 5, saying I love it, because remember, when I say 5 doesn't mean it's perfect, it just means I loved it. The only reason why I didn't give it a 5 is because it didn't stick the landing, and a lot of like misdirection shit didn't really go out well either. And I forgot what my last point is, but I'm pretty sure it was spoilers, so I'll just wait till I get into it. But that's the gist of it. I still overall really enjoyed it. I would watch the show again, bit by bit. Really, if it weren't for that last episode, I would still say I really like the show. So, and
all right.
And it's not the destination; it's the journey.
All right, Pedro, you and your dumbass colloquialisms that make no sense in this one. So, would you guys recommend it?
Yes, 100% recommend. 100% recommend, because not only is it going to be needed for future MCU titles, but if you've seen everything in the MCU and you've loved all these characters, you got to see where they've been. You got to see what happens to Vision. You got to see what happens to Wanda. So what you're saying is, in later titles, when any of these characters appear again, you're going to be like, whatever, just fucking wiki it. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, essentially.
I agree with Armando. I don't think this is. So look, I have some gaps in my Marvel cinema history. I haven't seen fucking Dark World. I didn't see.
You don't need it.
I think that's it. I think it's the only one I haven't seen.
You do need Dark World, because it was very important in Avengers.
Right.
No, it wasn't, dude.
But look, but I'm already past that. And I survived, okay? I'm knowledgeable in the franchise. I know enough to get by. And this, in my opinion, isn't needed. All you gotta do is watch a 5-minute recap online, and you're good to fucking go.
This show, you could definitely watch a recap and be like, oh, okay, I know what's happening. And you don't need to watch whatever 5 hours the show was. This show could literally be condensed into an hour. And if it was a movie, I would say it's a movie. It's short, 2 hours, you're out, boom. This is not even 6 hours. This is 8 hours. What is it, 30 minutes each? It's 5 hours.
5 hours, yeah, you're right. About the 40-30 minutes, yeah. So that's a lot, dude. To ask someone to sit through, it's just it's not worth the payoff.
There's no
you
payoff.
even said it, Pedro.
There's no payoff.
It's not worth the payoff, and what do you get out of it? A villain that might be used for later time, but should be written off at this point.
I was gonna say, don't get to the spoilers because we're not there yet.
Yeah, but I'm just we'll get into spoilers.
Would you recommend Orlando? I guess the gist is
no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm saying as someone who has gaps in their Marvel movie cinema, whatever the MCU, I did just fine, and I think you'll be just fine.
Yeah. For me, if you're a Marvel fan, watch it, because you want to know more about Wanda and what she went through and what's going on in her life. I guess a day in the life in Wanda, right? But if you're not really an MCU fan and you just like watching the movies, don't even bother. I think, in my opinion, this show doesn't give you anything. It literally doesn't give you anything.
100% agree. I think there are some Marvel movies that stand that are solid without even the backstory. I think some Marvel movies are just Homecoming. Just watch it. Great movie. You'll get kind of what's happening. Civil War, kind of get what's happening. You know what I'm saying? There's some movies they just stand the time, and they don't. You miss the context, but more or less you kind of understand what's happening. WandaVision, if you're not a huge fan, fucking skip it. There's no point.
Yeah, there isn't. All right, gents, let's get into it. Spoilers ahead if you haven't watched WandaVision, and you don't want anything spoiled for yourself. Stop, look where you left off, and come back when you're done. If you don't care, stick around. If you've seen it, stick around. We got spoilers ahead. Spoilers. Mm-hmm. Spoilers. All right, guys. I want to start off by saying this fucking show didn't do shit for the multiverse saga.
Correct.
This show was supposed to crack open the multiverse, right? This show was supposed to be the beginning of this three saga thing.
It's not that it was supposed to. It's we thought it was going to, but it didn't.
It was supposed to. That's what Kevin fucking Feige said. That it was the
they
first part of the
told
saga.
us that it was going to be, and they fucking lied.
They said it was the first part of the saga, dude.
Yeah,
if you're talking about first part of the saga, that means it's gonna set up what's gonna happen in the movies to come. This show was supposed to come out right before Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, so you could understand Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So it's kind of like this show didn't give me anything. It literally just said that Wanda is the most powerful magic person ever, and that's it. And she did something that we don't know what happens, and we're gonna find out.
Well, yeah, it says that Wanda is really a mutant because they brought that up, showing that she had powers before before she got experimented on. So they retconned that she's a mutant.
But I don't even think she's a mutant per se, though. I think
totally
she's just
mutant,
she was just she has magic, dude. That's all it for me. That's what it meant.
She was born with powers, because magic you have to learn how to use. She didn't learn how to use anything. She just had the ability. That's mutants.
Yeah, so. but I feel like if you have to be.
And they already confirmed the Mutants show or movie. I don't even know what the fuck it is, but they already confirmed the Mutants property.
I don't even believe that's confirmed either, dude. I don't believe that. I think
that
it's
is
just
confirmed.
What? Tell me where it's confirmed, Pedro. Did Marvel come out and say this is? That's not confirmation. That's just people fucking guessing, dude. A quote unquote leak that could be or could not be real. I don't believe none of that shit, dude. This is WandaVision didn't do shit for nothing. It didn't even do anything for Wanda. Like you further explained that Wanda's powerful, but you already knew that she almost took down Thanos in Endgame. It's kind of like, what more?
And then,
this show didn't do shit.
What it pretty much did was, just put her on that power level, give her the Darkhold, and set up that what I'm assuming she's going to be using in Multiverse of Madness. They're pretty much just visually showing you that she's on Doctor Strange's level. Or in this case, beyond.
Yeah, but imagine 6 or 8 episodes just for that. And essentially you already know.
Well, because what this is about, it's her dealing with her loss with Vision and how she can't handle it. And it's her trying to... Yeah, so there's a purpose to the show. The purpose of the show wasn't multiverse. We thought it was going to be, but it wasn't. The purpose of the show is, how do you deal with loss? Someone that's all powerful that can create shit out of thin air. How does a person like that deal with loss? And it was that she fucking couldn't until she learned to let it go. So there is a purpose to the show. It just wasn't the purpose we wanted.
No.
The thing is that for a show that it's Marvel's, the thing is, you have to understand, this is like Marvel's first attempt at a show. This isn't Netflix's fucking Daredevil. This is fucking canon MCU, Kevin Feige led show. Yes. So when you have that, when that shit's announced, that shit carries weight, you know. And I agree. I think having a story about grief. That's why I applaud the show. Having a story about grief and loss and it's unique. It's super unique. There's nothing like WandaVision in the MCU. And because of that, it is a great show. But 8 episodes on just boo-hoo-hooing and you playing pretend, that shit gets old. Especially when you're part of a bigger picture. So it's okay to have this story about grief and loss, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you playing with a kingdom, so you need to like start opening the doors to that kingdom. You gotta start showing some stuff that leads to the bigger picture, and it didn't do that. Especially with the fucking fake out with Pedro or Peter, whatever the fuck.
Pietro.
Petro, they fucking introduced him, and you're like, oh shit! Like I remember the episode. That shit was amazing. Like
Yeah, it was amazing.
You open the door and you're like, holy shit! This is it. This is the multiverse. And then they fucking at the last episode, they squashed it.
Yeah.
And bad.
Yeah, they pretty much...
They make a fucking boner joke, and that's it.
They made a dick joke. Yeah, they turned him into a dick joke.
So, like, you had a moment where we were all, like... Even at the end of the episode, we were still like, oh shit, like, he's back, he's here. I wonder what's gonna happen. Maybe there's gonna be an end credit scene with him. Who the fuck knows? And you fucking ruined that with a dick joke.
He was essentially stunt casting, and I think that's the worst part of it all.
Yeah, so there is that where it was just like you guys are saying, it was absolute bullshit. The point of it was just a lead up to a joke. But hear me out. What if when Jimmy Woo went to Westview, he said that he was there because someone from Witness Protection he lost contact with him and went AWOL, and he couldn't find him. So what if that is him, and for some reason the fake name they gave him was Boner, and that was just a cover story, and it really is him, and that's just something they're gonna explain further on.
I mean, you're
now
just...
if that obviously I'm just pulling shit like from what people are trying to justify this. If that ends up being the real deal, would that redeem it in your eyes, or still it would have been like there's no point on the show?
No, because at the end of the day, like, it wouldn't redeem the show. The show is self-contained. You can't like fix it later, but like, oh, it's cool now. Like, no, this is a standalone thing.
They do retcons all the time. What do you mean?
They do retcons all the time, but that doesn't make something better or worse. It just makes that thing now different. But the original context is not better or worse. It's just what it is.
No, dude, fucking Star Wars does tons of retcons, and when you watch it, you're like, now it makes sense. Because you have the context in your head. Like people used to... I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent.
Last Jedi. Fucking...
I'm not bringing up Last Jedi, but anyways.
Alright, no. You want to talk about retcons. Let's talk about the biggest fucking retcon in cinema history.
Alright, go.
Alright, Last Jedi... fucking said, I'm a do my own shit. Abrams retcons the whole fucking movie. Does that make Last Jedi a better movie? Fuck no.
What I mean is small retcons, like you watch A New Hope and you're like, damn, what a great movie. And then people for decades start going, damn, it's fucking Death Star. All this planning, all this stuff. And all you had to do was throw something in a vent and blow it up completely. How did they not see that coming? And then they made Rogue One, an entire movie about that plot point. And then now you watch A New Hope with Rogue One in your mind and you're like, fuck, brilliant. That's what I mean by a Quicksilver retcon later on. You're going to look back.
But it really doesn't make... Like that last... Like, Rogue One doesn't make A New Hope better, though. It really doesn't. It just adds like more layers to it. It doesn't make it a better movie. Yeah, it adds to the lore, but doesn't make it a better movie. The movie stands on its own.
When I watch the Battle of Endor now and I see retconned Rex there, I'm like, fuck yeah, it's so much better. So don't say that.
You're full of shit, Petro.
You're full of shit, man. You're fucking full of shit.
Anyways,
you're out here giving shit fours when in the third street. You're fucking full of shit.
Anyways, you're only fighting me for something that I'm hypothesizing, but it's not even fucking done. Like, we don't know.
I mean,
it could just be a literal dick joke, and we wasted our time on the Quicksilver stuff.
For sure. But you also gotta think about, we don't really know who was there for. We still don't know that. And for what I took it as, I don't think he lost somebody in the town. I think someone escaped to the town. That's what I always thought it as. And we never saw that referenced again, ever. In those 9 episodes the show went on, he never brought it up again. And you never saw who he was looking for. He never was like, even when the town was done, like, he was in there, directing people at the end of episode 9. he was never like, oh shit, where's our witness? You know, like no, he didn't even
Yeah.
fucking care.
I
So
mean,
it's
but
kinda
they
like-
do. They do that shit all the time. They just throw in shit so you can just play guessing games.
Yeah,
It's
like the
part of the
astrophysicist.
fun. It's part of the fun with being, like, the astrophysicist. It's part of the fun of being a fan to put that shit together.
Yeah,
But like,
but then it has no
and
payoff. You're putting
and
shit
it-
together for no payoff.
most of the time it doesn't have a payoff. I mean, they mentioned, like, I remember them mentioning Spider-Man like a long time ago, and obviously it has a
strange.
payoff. But like,
And
but
and then in Ant-Man.
right. So I mean, it's like this kind of stuff. It's like it's small gain. It's a wink and a smile. That shit doesn't really. I mean, at least for me, and maybe when it comes to the Marvel movies, I'm a casual fan. I think I can say that with respect. And I don't give a shit. I'm not out here. Beautiful minding this shit and connecting the dots. I don't give a
So
fuck.
what you're saying is, if it's not game changing, you don't care. So self-contained stories are like, there's no point.
No, I mean, you can be self-contained and
So
still
like you said,
be.
Homecoming is whatever because it didn't really change anything.
No, but Homecoming is a phenomenal movie on its own. That's it. Like
But you said
can
you don't recommend it.
I recommend Homecoming.
Oh, you just don't consider it essential viewing for MCU.
No,
you
I-
didn't say any of that. Pedro, wow.
I
you weren't
didn't say-
listening to
you're not
him. That's
listening.
fucked up, man.
Yeah, wake
That's
up.
what you were saying earlier.
No, I said there are movies that stand alone, right? As Marvel movies that you can watch without no reference,
without any
no
reference,
backstory, and they stand by themselves, and they're just great movies. They're not good Marvel movies; they're just good movies, and Homecoming is one of them.
Okay,
Um,
continue.
Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say, but you know, you don't have to have a payoff. Like we've seen standalone movies in cinema that are amazing. Like what is it, Wolverine or the one Logan? No, not Logan. Logan, Homecoming. Like we have these films that are just by themselves and they're great. It's just WandaVision doesn't do anything. Like we talked about this before. We are at the point of superhero fatigue. So
Yes.
you gotta. Wanda did a great job of being a good sitcom. The minute it became superhero-ish, you lost me. Because all you're doing is laser beam fighting, and that's boring to me.
Yeah.
You know, so you gotta do something different in terms of cinematography, in terms of battle scenes, in terms of action. Like, you just can't do the same thing. Like, you know, and it's just the villain, like, I want power, like, it's the same stories that we hear all the time. And it's not Marvel's fault. That's essentially what superheroes and villains do. But as a viewer, I'm not interested anymore in that shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cape
You
shit.
know?
There's a reason why it's called cape shit, because it is that, like you're saying.
Yeah,
And,
like Spider-Man is a good movie. Why? Because there's cape shit, but there's also like teen drama, teen angst, a coming of age story. And this just doesn't hit the mark.
I agree with you with it felt like it was a show that was supposed to be like psychological thriller, at least in the first half. And then the fact that it ended in a slugfest, I agree 100% was like the lowest of the low point. It's like, come on. We thought this was going to be something else. And it was just literally the fucking ending of the Harry Potter scene where like one has more willpower than the other and you see the two different colored beams coming at each other. You know, when it was I agree. As I was watching that, I'm like, you guys are really going to end it this way in a slugfest? Yeah, you guys fucked up for sure.
Yeah. The thing is, it had such me personally, as someone who watched the old Twilight Zone movies, I was like, this is the first one, especially there's one scene where, I forgot the lady's name, but she's a lady from that 70s show. And I think her husband is like choking and she's laughing like hysterically.
Oh, yeah.
Stop it.
That was great.
Stop it.
And you're wondering like what's happening, but maybe it's like, oh, Wanda lost control at that moment and she's like stuck in a loop, you know? Mm-hmm. There's moments like that. You're like, and then when you hear a call come out from the radio, that was a great scene. So that you have all of these amazing, great scenes, but what fucking kills it is actually over-explaining this shit. Because then you lose, like, what made it great. You know, it's like Twilight Zone. Like, Twilight Zone, what happens is at the end, you figure out, okay, this is what it was, and that's it. But WandaVision does a whole fucking deep dive, and it's like, okay, I understand. Oh, okay, it's what it is. Oh, she was doing it the whole time. Oh, it's not really her. Oh, somebody was calling out to her. Like, you explain everything that it loses its effect on you. It loses its charm. You know, it's as if they like fucking Fight Club. If Fight Club was like, oh, I am Tyler Durden, and you are doing all this shit. If they went back and then they explained that shit more and more and more, it would have killed the movie. But you got the big reveal, and then that's it. You move on. And I think WandaVision does an over explanation of the show that it fucking kills it, because it loses its magic.
They were just trying to fill in time, dude. That's what it was.
So the episode, because I know exactly which episode you're talking about. You're talking about the episode where they introduced Monica Rambeau, and then maybe the one after, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, where pretty much your hand was being held so you could see the other part of the story, the outside going in. You were like, yeah, I didn't need to know all that. All I needed to know was there was an outside, and I'll fill in the blanks myself. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah. I mean, there were some scenes that I liked. I like the scene where she comes back and then she's like, "Oh, what's happening with everything?" That was cool because we haven't seen that. We see moments of the post snap, but not, you know, we see the grief where they had the movie, there was like counseling because of the snap, but we haven't seen people deal with coming back from the dead.
Yeah, essentially. The time that we saw them actually happening was really quickly and Far From Home, and they just played the scene for laughs. Like the band just appears and you're like, oh, ha ha. And then they're like, oh, we got to do fucking 10th grade all over again. So yeah, for you to actually see like that moment where they're like, now what? You didn't really see that. Because when we saw it in Endgame, they were just like, on your left, came to the rescue. So you didn't get a chance to really witness it. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That scene was awesome. I actually was really happy they showed that.
It's one of the best scenes of the show.
Especially since it was a very interesting... There was like an irony to it because her character, she was there on the deathbed of her mom, where her mom's dying and she's there to try and like counsel her. And then when the snap happens, she disappears and then the mom's got to go like nut up or shut up and then fucking take over Sword. And then she dies. So then when she comes back, she's just like, what? Like, what the fuck? So it was just a very interesting... like dynamic between her and her mother. It's like, fuck, like I missed her, you know, I was here waiting for her and then I fucked up, you know.
Even a show about grief, you have a character who loses her mom, doesn't even have time to mourn her mom, and she's immediately like jumped into the WandaVision stuff and the what's going on with Wanda. Like you never see her deal with that. So, like, you want to talk about grief, but then you obviously are setting this character up to be the next superhero. And you have a pivotal moment to give her a moment to build character, to build, like, no, you know what? I wasn't there for my mom, so I know what it's like to not be there for someone. I got to be there for Wanda. That would have been, like, oh, shit. She's seeing this as, like, her like... chance to do what's right.
Isn't that kind of... that's the way I took it, too.
Nah, she was wasted. She was wasted, dude. Absolutely wasted.
But what I mean is her motivation for helping Wanda, that's what I took it as. I took it as that explanation.
It was wasted. Her motivation didn't do anything. It didn't go anywhere. It just... She got kidnapped and that's it. And then she came up at the end and she, like, gave her some words. She didn't do anything, dude. Like, she should have been the person to... rescue Wanda and shake her out of whatever she was going through and help her come back to reality. That was the purpose of having Monica Rambeau in that show and having her drive and be like, no. There's something wrong with Wanda. She's something's happening to her. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna help her. but in the end, she didn't even help her. She didn't do shit to help her. Like it's just this
yeah,
drive for nothing.
Right. I think her drive is there, and I think when it comes to the show that over explains everything, you don't explain this character's morale and his character's like psyche. Like literally, you like what does like her mom passes away and she immediately goes into what it is essentially work. She throws herself to work, and you don't really know her. So you think, okay, maybe she's dealing with grief by working or whatever.
Right.
But
Yeah.
and then she makes Wanda like her project essentially, you know? But you never see like they never connect the dots of that. You know, you gotta connect the dots of that. And by doing that it makes a character like less whole.
Yeah. They should have give her an episode of in that same episode where she comes back in, they should have developed her more, as in like what she's been doing since Captain Marvel. Like what has she been doing? Like how's her relationship with Captain Marvel? I mean, I'm pretty sure they're gonna go into this all in Captain Marvel, but it's kind of like, oh, I'm gonna have to wait 3 years to understand more about Monica Rambeau.
Right.
Yeah, I think
why didn't you explain to me now?
Yeah.
Like I don't care about her in Captain Marvel, but explain to me who Monica Rambeau is now. I saw who she was as a child. She was a brave little girl.
Yeah.
But who is she
I
now?
think,
like who is she as a person now? Like I spent more time with her. I understand her more as a character in Captain Marvel than I fucking did in the show.
Yeah, I think a scene in that same episode that we're all talking about, I think a scene of seeing her like
Seeing
go through
her
like
life, go back.
go
No,
through
just
some
go back to
some
her
therapy.
apartment, dude. Follow her home. Follow her going to visit her mom's grave. Follow her understanding what the fuck is happening in this world, and then go and then go to Sword.
and then go, yeah, all right, I can't handle this. I just got to bury myself in work, and then like pretty much do the slow build, because it was so quick. It was like, oh, my mom's gone, and then a time jump. You would hope it's a time jump and not literally the next day of just her
it
going
looks
like
like it's a time
2 weeks to
jump.
work.
It's 2 to 3 weeks, because you got to keep in mind that she came back in Endgame, so the WandaVision story picks up 2 to 3 weeks after Endgame. So
you're right.
That's what we see her come back and then go back
3 weeks.
go to work. So it's
You're right.
3 weeks. So like, what the fuck has she been doing in 3 weeks?
Right.
What happened to her life in 3 weeks?
And the thing is, you have one of those characters again where like their sole purpose revolves around the main character. Like it's kind of annoying. It kind of diminishes the character. Like you live and breathe Wanda, but why the fuck? Like, especially when you had 5 years of your life taken away from you, you would assume you did something else with that time. So I think it doesn't do a good service to that character. I think it actually sets her back a little bit. I think they got to explain some more because we gotta do that. Now we need to like explain her like morale and her. We have to think about like who she is as a person, and that shouldn't be our job as viewers.
What's gonna come down to, Orlando, is that now we have to waste time in Captain Marvel to find out who she is or what she's been doing or what she's been up to.
Right.
And that's why. Why do I need to do that? Why introduce a character, briefly explain to me who she is, what she's been, what has she done, and then like you had this time, you had 6 to 5.5 hours to fill. Instead of giving me, like you said, over explaining the weird occurrences that happened in Wanda's bubble, you could have spent time developing this character. That she's gonna mean something later on. She's gonna be important. Like she's probably gonna be Nick Fury's right hand man or something like that.
I mean,
she's gonna mean something.
She's essentially
She's
new
gonna
class.
be the new Nick Fury. That's what they're gonna set her up as.
Right, but she's essentially the new class. Essentially, these new superheroes that are coming in, they're made to replace the veterans. She's part of the new class, so you need to do her justice and give her some depth, especially for a show that is so character driven. You have Wanda, who is fleshed out pretty well in this show. You have even fake Vision is fucking really fleshed out in this show.
Yes.
Even Wu is kind of fleshed out a bit. You have some of these characters.
Wu so much now.
He's very likable, yeah.
But he's a side character, but he's still, pretty, you get just a sense of who he is, a guy who stands up for wrong. He's always been like a smart ass, he stands on the good side. You kind of get like his sense of character. But he's a minor character. But for Rambo, we shouldn't have to connect these dots.
I fully agree, man. I think they just wasted her, especially at the end. You sidelined her the entire episode.
Yes.
Why introduce giving her powers? Why introduce all these other shit about her? And yet, at the end, you essentially wasted her.
Well, the powers is for Marvel too, but yes, she had no purpose in that final fight.
But the thing is that she could have, like, if this show should have never ended in a suckfest. I actually
don't think exactly. There shouldn't have been a final fight. Period. The Vision versus Vision. I didn't care for it. It ended good though. The fact that they were trying to like the whole Ship of Theseus type thing. It ended up being good, but I didn't like the fact that they were slugging it out, and I really didn't like the Agatha Scarlet Witch fight at all. I didn't mind that the Agatha was the only villain and not Mephisto or any of that. I didn't care, but make her more compelling, and she should have got more explanation of her instead of that opening scene. But yeah, definitely Rambo felt wasted in that last episode. Like, she didn't do anything. All she did was hang out with Boner, and I don't remember what the fuck she ended up doing. That was
she
it.
saved the kids from bullets when they could have saved themselves.
Oh, that's right. When they could have saved themselves, because the kid's fast and the kid can also.
I don't know, man. This is just another example.
You wasted her on a joke.
Yeah. This is another example of the Disney just sidelining characters in general. Like, why introduce these characters if you're gonna sidelight them? Like, if you're gonna give them a spotlight, give them the spotlight they deserve. And I don't know, like it seems like a common thing. Like, I'm not, we got you sideline John Boyega's character, you sideline Rose's character, you sideline Rambo's character. Like, current Disney, like, it seems like they're just having a checkbox just to fill, and it's like.
Like, she wasn't used to her full potential, but I wouldn't go so far as to say she was like sidelined like those guys. Those guys were clearly supposed to be.
Not. Yeah, well, I agree.
Yeah, those guys are on a whole other level of bullshittery. Now Rambo's they put Rambo. Yeah, go.
No, I'm saying hold your point. First of all, you mentioned these two characters. Rose was irrelevant, and she should have never been relevant. But
she was a setup. She was supposed to be set up to be more though. Same thing with Finn.
Finn, I agree with Finn. They fucked Finn over. Finn should have been something in The Last Jedi, and The Last Jedi turned him into a joke.
Right.
And Rose Tico should have never existed as a character. Her character is extremely pointless.
Right.
Honestly, if you think about that movie,
this is why I didn't want to bring it up.
It's pointless. It's pointless. But the thing is that Monica Rambeau isn't pointless. Monica Rambeau should have had something to do at the end of the show. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, she should have been important to helping Wanda, because that was her drive from the moment she came back from the bubble. She was like, oh, it's Wanda, but you know what? There's something going on with her, so I'm going to try to help her. I'm going to try to rescue her from herself.
Right.
And she never did that. And I think that's the biggest problem here, is that you set up this thing for the entire 8 episodes of her trying to get into the bubble to help out Wanda. And then when she's in the bubble to help out Wanda, she doesn't help out Wanda. And it's kind of like, why the fuck did you spend all this time doing this to her? And at the end, she doesn't do anything. You just wasted her. You wasted her character development for nothing. For a joke. You wasted her on a joke. Straight up, that's what it was.
The entire second plot, the side plot, really either needed to be further developed or just less developed, which was the whole The whole point of Rambo's character, Jimmy Woo and Darcy, was to set up that they have their own villain as well, inside Sword. The thing is, the show is mainly supposed to be WandaVision and their stuff, but they felt to bloat it a little more by adding a whole other side of like, wait, Sword is corrupt because of this guy. And that's why you have their characters. Rambo, at the end of the day, should have been solely focused on the Sword issue rather than the Wanda issue. Once she got kicked out of the bubble, I don't think she should have fought to get back in or do anything. Like, just focus on your Sword ones, and maybe she left with powers, and then you focus on that issue. I think that would have been a better use of her character instead of putting her in the bubble for no reason. Like, again. So that would have been the more elegant solution to that.
Well, the whole point of her going back into the bubble is to set up her getting the powers.
Her getting the powers. But if she should have got it, she should have got it on the way out or something. I don't know. They could have done any other mumbo jumbo.
They should have. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They wasted her as a character. They didn't know what to do with her.
The reason why I'm not busting the show's balls as much for not giving her character development is because it's an introduction to her, and she's going to be in Captain Marvel Part 2. Now, if Captain Marvel Part 2 comes out and she's not used, then that's total bullshit. It's kind of like when they introduce... it's not really the same, but when they introduced War Machine in Iron Man, and you're like, yeah, War Machine, cool, but he didn't get shit. And then you watch Iron Man 2, not as good of a movie, but War Machine is like half the movie. I was telling Armando about that earlier today. They need to do that with her to justify this. That's why I'm not busting the show's balls for her that much as you guys are, because I know that the purpose of it wasn't to get to know her completely yet. Like, you get small snippets when she's breaking into the bubble. You hear the voices, whatever, implying that, oh, there's more story. But you're not going to know that yet. So, that's what I feel about that one.
Yeah, and her reactions whenever they mentioned Captain Marvel, she had like this face like, oh, fuck that bitch.
Yeah, something's going on, but you don't know. They're keeping it, they're like, hey, we can't tell you everything.
But that's fine. That's fine. I don't need to know any of that now. But I need to know who she is and what she's been. And who she is as a person now, because we already met her. This is our reintroduction to Monica Rambeau. It's not like we've never met this character before. She's not a new character. She's been established already, but we met her as a child.
I mean, at this point, she's completely a new character because it's such a big time jump. So much has happened that, at this point, she is a new character.
I don't agree with that. It's you have to explain to me how she grew up. And like who she is as an adult, because I already know how she is as a child, but who is she as an adult? And that's a simple thing to do.
I don't think it was this show's job to do all that. So I do agree with more of a fallout after the snap, because if you're gonna show post snap, you might as well show post snap of what happened. But past that point, give a little more grief, like you guys said, cemetery, maybe counseling. Oh, I need to bury myself in my work. Then mission starts, and that's it. And I would have been okay with it. As long as that opening part would have been done, I don't mind the rest, because that's what the movie's for. Hopefully. So.
Yeah, but the thing is that this show, you have time to do those things. In a movie, you don't have a time to go through all these things. Like, once the movie hits, you already need to know who Monica Rambeau is. And in order to expedite the movie. Because you need to know who she is as a character, and you explain why she's upset with Captain Marvel, and that's it. That's really all you need to know. But now you have to explain to me who Monica Rambeau is. What's her problem with Captain Marvel, and then you have to resolve that problem. And it's gonna be a side plot, of course, because it's not gonna be the main story of Secret Invasion. But it's one of those things where like it doesn't fucking matter. Like you had the time right now to tell me who Monica Rambeau is. And you should have. You should have spent your time doing that. If you're going to introduce her here, you went out of your way to reintroduce a new character. You went out of your way to further explain Sword to me. Mm-hmm. But you don't have enough time to explain to me who Monica Rambeau is now. It's just a waste of time.
Yeah, I agree. So, what did you guys like about the show? I know we have been kind of shitting on it for a little bit, while Pedro is still trying to justify it as a great show. It's a good show for what it is. Let's get to what we like about the show, at least. The
visuals. I like the visuals. I like the Scarlet Witch story. how you kind of see how she got her powers and stuff like that. That's really cool. Like you further explain the past of Wanda, and I think that was really, even though that episode itself wasn't the best in my opinion, but it was great as a backstory, as a filler episode,
Right.
to kind of help you understand about more about Wanda, which was pretty cool. And you got that great line from Vision on that episode, which I really loved.
Yeah, the one that
what was
everyone
it
makes
about
fun
love?
of.
Yeah.
What
is
is
love?
what is loss if
what is-
not love persevering?
Yeah, something like that. Oh, it's so
Something
good,
like
man.
that.
What a great line. What a great line. That was pretty cool. The sitcom stuff was pretty cool because I was able to recognize some of them, except the 80s one. I didn't really recognize those that much.
Yeah, that was Family Ties with the drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. That kind of stuff was really cool. Like I said, over explaining kind of killed it when obviously you saw the box of like DVDs that they would watch, and it's like all the old stuff, like I Love Lucy and stuff.
I actually didn't think that was over explaining. I thought that did the right amount of explaining. It showed that she was a
I liked
fan.
it. Yeah, I liked it. I thought that was fine.
It explained the sitcom, why it was a sitcom.
Right, and for the most part, I like that as well. I did like the sitcomist. I did like the Modern Family take and stuff like that. I thought it was really good. For the most part, like it just showed another side, a potential of like writing of like, okay, if they ever do a sitcom or of a show with maybe no supers, they can definitely do one. Like it really opened the door up for like what the cinematic universe could be, and for that I really appreciate it. Like I would love more of that trippy like Twilight Zone kind of feel. Like if they can go back to that feeling with another movie, maybe Doctor Strange or something, I would truly like that, because that shit was like they caught it. They really, I didn't think they caught the sitcom's vibe too well, but that Twilight Zone, that Outer Limits kind of like feeling, I think they really nailed it, and I think I would love for them to explore that kind of like storytelling.
Yeah, I really like those moments. I call those the oh shit moments, where you're watching it feels like a normal sitcom, and suddenly you're like, oh, this just got weird, and then everyone pretends like nothing happened, and you're like, yeah. The slow build up with those oh shit moments in the first 3, maybe 4 episodes, I can't remember. Those were like definitely the highlight of the show. And I don't know, overall, like for me, the only bad episode was the last episode. So even the build up to it, I really enjoyed like the Halloween episode. Of course, you got your throwbacks and shit, but I did just like that it showed more of the surrounding Wanda world. You know, because the joke, I wouldn't say a joke, the mentioning before was like, oh, there's no kids around here, Wanda. And then, the next episode you get nothing but kids, and it's like, oh, I see what you did there. And then, even though we hated the overall reveal of Evan Peters as Quicksilver, you gotta admit, he really shined in that Halloween episode, because we got to see that version of Quicksilver outside of the X-Men movies, and it's like, man, he's such a great actor. Like, this is such a great character. Like, that version of him is so much more charismatic than the one that we got for MCU. So just seeing the difference, just seeing that, it felt really good.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that. He did get wasted, but like I said, that's the journey, you know. But it was.
The people are saying that there's more to him than just a fucking joke. So hopefully,
yeah.
I would like for him to stay as Quicksilver or whatever the case may be, and then also bring back the other Quicksilver and make it, because I think Marvel learns from their mistakes. I think as their movies get, I think, progressively better overall.
Yeah.
You know,
they're fixing their Mandarin problem with a whole movie. So yeah,
even if it's stale or like we're tired of it, for the most part, their movies are pretty solid. So I think if they brought back that Quicksilver, the original MCU Quicksilver, I think they can do something with him. That's different and refreshing, especially if they have 2 Quicksilvers, because they can always play off of that as a joke. Cause I don't think they'll have 2 of anything unless it's true about the Spider-Man 3 rumors, you know.
No, I think in Doctor Strange movie we're gonna see a lot of twos
Or threes.
or threes for sure, hands down. In that movie, you're gonna see a lot of weird shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. Overall, the show was good. All right, like I know I'm shitting on it, but it's just those things that I'm shitting on could have made the show way much better. And I think Agatha as a character was really good, but like what you said, Orlando, her motivation is like, oh, I just want to be the ultimate witch. I'm like,
Yeah. We've seen that for a lot of Marvel villains. Yeah.
yeah, and it's kind of like I feel like the story of the comic books was more interesting than having her just be like, oh, I want to be the ultimate witch, you know.
But I
comic,
do like
Agatha
I do like
manipulates
that they
her
didn't
into
kill
things.
her. I do like that they didn't kill her. I
No.
always hated
She's
when
gonna come
comic
back.
movies. Yeah, I always
She's
hate
gonna
when
come back in
comic
Doctor
movies
Strange
kill. When they kill the villains, I'm like, there's potential there, you know. So I do like that they've been keeping her, you know, in the bag for like Doctor Strange, and maybe make her better, you know, maybe add more layers to her. But yeah, as of right now, she definitely was just, I want to be power incarnate. Oh shit, this witch is power incarnate. Let me find out how she did it. And yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think like, you know, I'm one of the people who was on the Mephisto train, and I think it's because that added a lot of more depth to the show, right? Because it felt like somebody was toying with Wanda, like somebody was playing with her, and I think that mystery, because the show had a sense of mystery to it, and the idea that like someone was fucking with Wanda added to that idea, like, oh, there's somebody else fucking with her, and I think that's what people really like about them, you know.
Technically, Agnes was fucking with her when she, depending on what version of Quicksilver we're trying to figure out. There's one version where he really is just an actor, and she somehow gave him speed powers. So, and recasted. So, technically, Agnes was fucking with her to try and get a rise out of her. But yes, it wasn't the level
in order to
that we
understand
thought.
the world.
Right.
You know, I'm sorry to fucking with her in a sense of bigger overarching idea, you know, because this is supposed to be the beginning of something.
Yeah.
How I wanted it more. I wanted to mean more. I wanted the show to mean something more, you know.
How do you guys
I think
feel
that's my
about
biggest
how do you guys feel about Vision essentially still surviving in one form or another?
It makes sense. He's a computer.
Yeah.
And if you remember, Suri did say that he's made up of a whole bunch of trillion of things, you know.
Yeah, I did like that final battle where he was just like, I don't know, explanation. He's like, explain. He's like, oh, this is, you know, and it just showed like the battle of two minds, and like I like that there are two. I like in one moment there were two visions, essentially in the moment realizing like who they are, and like essentially like fighting for their cause, you know, like you had OG White Vision obviously realizing that he is Vision even though he's composed of like new parts, and like kind of like saying fuck that shit, maybe going to sort of fucking shit up, you know, and or like regret, because he said like he had no memory of the past.
Yes.
So which makes sense because it's like, okay, well, you have no memory, so obviously you're not gonna be tied to Wanda. So it's like, okay, we understand that, but you're probably pissed that they fucked with you. So you're gonna probably go cause some mayhem on the other end, and then you have Vision with the memories. Like, all right, I'm gonna go fight for my love. So like you literally have two different versions of Vision, and like it makes sense with where their motives lie. You know, like I got no memories. Fuck that, I'm getting it back. And the other one is like, I've had all these memories. I'm gonna fight to protect them.
I took Wanda's vision, touching White Vision as him unlocking that part of him.
Yeah.
I don't think he necessarily went to go get those memories. I think he unlocked it. He's like, oh shit, I am Vision. I think he just went to I think he left to do some self discovery. Like,
right. Well, I mean, I think he realized like yeah, maybe that is true because he said like oh yeah I think that Vision does say that like they're inside of you, you just don't have them.
You just can't access them.
Yeah.
Pretty much White Vision was the body without the memories and without the Soul Stone. And he got the memories unlocked, and now he's like, well, what am I now? Because I'm not Vision. I'm something entirely different. And then he leaves to go find himself. What am I? What is my mission? You know, these memories aren't mine. It's not, you know, something else. So I think from now on, there will be no WandaVision anymore. There will be no relationship. Like, Wanda already gave up. Not gave up. That's not the right word. She already accepted Vision is done. So she won't swoop to White Vision and go, oh my God, I still love you. And then White Vision, even though he has the memories, isn't gonna go, oh my Wanda. He's just gonna go, no. We're two separate entities at this point. We both grew up, you know, into totally new beings. So there will be no them together in the future.
Yeah,
which I like it. I like that a lot.
It kind of like that moment of them just talking and that just the way they spoke to each other. It reminded me of like a lot of Dr. Manhattan. You know, just like that overpowered being and just like realizing that like everything is small change. So I'm gonna go say fuck it and just do my own thing. It kind of reminded me of that. So I agree with you. I feel like White Vision seems like he leans towards that kind of process, that kind of thought process of like, I'm bigger than all of this, or like, not, even though these are my memories, it's no longer important because like, it's for my time to start anew. So it definitely gave me some like Dr. Manhattan vibes.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely Dr. Manhattan vibes. Oh, I guess I'll go make some people or something, you know, like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had a resolution also with WandaVision of him, Wanda's vision, being like, "What am I?" Also like, who am I? And she's like, "Oh, you are my memories of you are the memories of who I am and pieces of the Soul Stone that I put back together to create you." And I was like, "Oh shit!"
And the best part of that is because she touched the stone. And so she's like, you're part of the stone, and then the stone is in me, so therefore you're always with me. It was a little on the nose, the explanation, but that's pretty much what it was saying. Like, I can let you go because you'll always be with me. I don't need to have you, you know? So that's where her character goes full circle. That finally I got over it. I'm able to accept you not being around because you're always there. So I did like that. A little on the nose, but overall, her character resolution, I really enjoyed eventually when it finally got to it. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about that episode, once it got to the Vision versus Vision, from that point to the end, I really enjoyed the episode. It was the beginning to that part where I'm just like, nah, this ain't it. Like the slugfest, I didn't care, but I did enjoy that you got to see Wanda be an actual witch because she learned from the real witch, where she did her whole little trap. By that point was good. But just the boring slugfest, that's just the biggest part where I'm like, whatever. This wasn't what I watched the show for.
Yeah, when it comes to fight scenes now, you just can't do the same thing over and over at this point. Like, we talked about it with like Project Power, where there's like a fight scene in like the ice chamber, and that shit was actually filmed really cool. Like, you really gotta change shit up. It's like direction wise and cinematography to make something look really cool.
For sure. Winter Soldier scenes really popped out just because the choreo was so nice. You know, like elevator scene, everyone remembers that because it's like there's just something so awesome about how it was filmed. If they would have filmed that in a hallway and like copied Old Boy, you would have been like, yeah, whatever. Not memorable.
I think even like Batman versus Superman, where like you see all like the buildings, or I think it's Superman, where like I think it's not even it's like a fight's happening. But you see more of the destruction of everything. You're like, oh shit, this is like on some. I think it's Superman, where like he's fighting. I forget who the fuck he's fighting. Zod, and you're like, oh shit, like they're fucking shit up, and you see it from the view of like the spectator. They're like, oh, so you kind of take the camera back, like at this point, like show us the chaos from a distance so you can get the scope of things, you know?
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because now it made me think of one of the things that I felt was lacking in the show was any form of fallout, because she controlled all these people. And yeah, we got the glimpses where they're like, oh, please, Wanda, let's let her go. And then, yeah, where they all snap out of it, they kind of like mob her. But I'm like, I don't know. It still didn't feel like a justified consequence to what she did, even though she did it by accident and she didn't mean for it.
Yeah,
there still needed to be a bigger consequence. She literally just went like, oh, my bad, and pulled a Thanos by getting this beautiful view and like reading a fucking book while she's having breakfast. And I'm just like, that's it?
Yeah, no,
there was no fallout.
Yeah, and the sad thing is that we've already done a fallout to like civilians, casualty and destruction, which is Civil War.
That's true.
So
very true.
That's the thing about these shows. Like these, that's the thing about, at least about Batman vs Superman, that they explain that people are tired of y'all because y'all keep fucking up the buildings and shit. So with these Marvel movies, they've been doing that for fucking eons at this point, and there is no fallout. They try to, and so how do you bring up property damage and civilian casualties without making another civil war?
That's true.
So it's kind of like, no.
Unless they reserve that for something later on. Kind of like, remember we gave a lot of shit to Endgame. We were like, 5 years later, what? And then we had to watch Far From Home to go, oh, there it is. In a comedic way, but at least we got something.
I mean, I think you gotta do something if you're gonna do something in the Civil War sense, or like people are done again with the superheroes. You gotta have X-Men in your roster. It just makes it, you really can divide it at that point.
That's
so
that'll be the next introduction to that.
Yeah, so maybe small things like this are gonna build up to like that rift between mutants and superhero, whatever I don't know what the fuck they call them. And so then that way you have a true civil war. 'Cause I think Feige would know better. So like, okay, I did my civil war with like 5 characters. Now let me do this shit with like 20 characters, like 50 fucking characters. Because at this point he'll eventually be able to do that. So maybe stuff like this builds to that in a couple years.
That's a good point, though. They definitely don't want to be retreading territory they've done already. So for them to kind of retread almost the same territory but differently is going to be interesting. So yeah, you
got to make it huge. Yeah, you got to make it like, because Civil War was like 5 or 6 characters, 5 on 5. Like,
yeah,
it was like a basketball.
That charge was, yeah.
Yeah, so like if you do it maybe 5 to 10 years from now, and you got fucking everybody, then it's fucking Civil fucking War, and that's something different. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I know you were thinking of the extreme of a fallout, but I was definitely just thinking more for what happened to like. There's no fallout for her, but you're right. You brought up the Civil War thing. She literally had a whole movie about her fallout. So yeah, I don't know how they would have done it, but definitely not what they did. I just didn't feel. Like, I was like, yeah, that's it. Cool. Now you're on vacation. All right, awesome. Yeah.
There's certain things I liked about the continuity with Wu. You see the card trick build up.
Oh yeah, so good, dude.
2 movies in the making, which was pretty cool. It was something so small that you if you didn't pay attention, you would have missed it.
Yeah.
That card trick, he's been working on it for a while, so that was a pretty cool thing. Nod to the previous movies.
Yeah, there were a couple nice nods. Obviously, Darcy finally got her doctorate, so she was actually doctor. By this point,
she's
instead
a doctor
of the
now.
Right. I don't remember what she was, like intern, assistant, something in the previous.
I think she was doing her undergraduate, and she just did that for credit because it was the easiest one.
Yes. Now that you're mentioning it, I do remember something vaguely about that. But yeah. So there you have it. So you got character development just by showing small things, like giving her a title and giving him a card trick. You already got development for side characters that would have been normally forgettable anywhere else, and now they're like staying with you. So yeah, that's probably the best thing the MCU ever does, is Those little moments where you're like, oh, cool, nice.
Yeah, little nods to them and shit like that. Yeah.
How'd you guys
so
feel?
what do you guys? Go for it.
About, I don't know if you're gonna go this far yet. I'm gonna talk about after credits, or do you want to save that?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna go into. I was like, what do you guys feel is gonna happen now? You know.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's, of course, because of the after credits.
Yeah. So obviously, first after credits, we got shit. I can't remember which one's which now. First after credits was
Manakaro and Bo with scrolls.
That was the first one. I couldn't remember which one came first. Yeah, and that's obviously a setup for Captain Marvel 2. And I can't remember what movie it was right now. Maybe it was the end of Captain Marvel. What was the one where you saw Nick Fury with the scrolls?
That's Far From Home.
Ah, you're right. It was Far From Home. So
Because
that's obviously a continuation
the
of all
scroll
of that.
guys was Nick Fury and the other girl. I forgot her name.
You're right. And Hill.
Yeah, Maria Hill. There you go.
Kobe Smulders. There you go. So yeah, so obviously that's a setup for that, which is cool because you're keeping the scrolls, and we already know scroll invasion is around the secret invasion. Is around the corner. So that's obviously a setup for all of that, and yeah, I'm excited to see that. To know that plot line's still in the works.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And the idea is who was the scroll lady referencing? Was she referencing Nick Fury, or was she referencing
Her mother.
The main scroll guy?
Well, she said, oh, you're right. A friend of her mother's wants to meet her. I took it as Nick Fury. I took it as Nick Fury because we already saw he was chilling. He's clearly not dead. But I think, like Orlando was saying, it's more of a pass the torch type of meeting. Like Nick Fury's going to be like, all right, you will be the new head of S.W.O.R.D. in this case. Because yeah,
Well, she was supposed to be if she didn't blip.
it's true. Yeah, she was being trained for that. So now it's just going to be that part. And then you have the other one, which is the whole Darkhold, Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, that one I think was extremely interesting because she was in her astral form reading the Darkhold,
Yeah,
but her body was awake.
what she
And
did.
usually,
Yeah,
in our history with that astral projection, the body's always asleep. So that was the most curious part, is that her body was awake, but her astral form was reading.
right. She
Because
pulled
if you
Doctor
think back
Strange.
exactly. But in Doctor Strange, he was sleeping, and he was in astral form.
Yeah.
Because
It-
the few times you saw him in astral form, he was when he was training and he was sleeping and he was awake reading the books in his astral form. When he was bleeding out in the hospital and he was in astral form, telling what's her name?
The nurse?
That girl he likes. Yeah, I forgot her name right now.
Night
he was,
Nurse.
coaching
I
her.
just know her hero name.
He was teaching her how to save himself, but he was
Yes.
in astral form, and he had that astral fight, and that whatnot. And then he also, in that movie, you had
Well, in
when the Sorcerer
Endgame,
Supreme was dying. When the Sorcerer Supreme was dying, she was talking to him in her astral form, because her body was dying.
right?
She was unconscious. Her body was unconscious.
And
then, of course, in
Hulk was in
Endgame,
it. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and Hulk was his astral form too, with Mark Ruffalo being in his astral form, but the body was sleeping. So I think that's what makes this the most interesting of it all. Is like, how the fuck is she awake and still projecting herself?
That's a good point. I actually didn't think of it that way. I took it more as of but now that I even think about it again, I was thinking of it more as what Doctor Strange did when he had to look through all the different timelines to try and come up with the perfect one. But he was using the time stone, so that is why he was able to split himself and do all that shit, because he was using that. So yeah, you're right. She was able to split herself consciously multiple times and still read. So yeah, I didn't even think about that. She's in the astral form but awake, so she's like two people.
Which is curious. Is the Scarlet Witch entity something else, kind of like a Phoenix, Dark Phoenix type of thing.
They could set that up, yeah. That'd be an interesting way to set it up that way.
Like the
I don't think
Scarlet
it's-
Witch is an entity that she controls, something like that.
No, I actually don't think. No, I see where you're getting at. That the Scarlet Witch is a whole other thing that like possessed her. No, I just think it's her
Not
mutant
necessarily
ability.
possessed, kind of. Okay.
I think it's just a mutant ability that she's just that fucking overpowered, and it's something that was predicted. And what's the word I'm looking for? Where they a prophecy. There you go. It was
Prophecy.
prophesized. Yep. Exactly. I just think that's all it is. And then we're gonna see her like OP-ness more in Doctor Strange.
Yeah. So that thing, really got me thinking. I'm like, oh, what the fuck is all this? But then in the end, you hear the kids, right? And that
Yes.
is another interesting thing, because the kids were supposed to be figments that she created that only existed in her bubble.
Yeah.
But now you heard them when she was
Yeah.
going through the dark code.
That's gonna be weird to me because it makes it seem like she didn't get over that her kids are gone and she wants to bring her kids back. But if that's the case, that's gonna kind of destroy the character development she got throughout the show, which was that she accepted loss. At least Vision's loss. Just the fact that
regardless,
that feels weird.
the thing is that regardless, those kids have to come back, because there's gonna be a Young Avengers movie or a show, or whatever. So they
Yeah.
have to come back.
But do you
so
think
the thing is, it's like, how are they gonna
is,
do it?
is Young Avengers official?
Yeah, they're setting up all the Young Avengers. You got the American Chavez that's coming out in Doctor Strange 2.
America Chavez.
You got Kate Bishop coming up in the Hawkeye show.
That's true, Kate
You
Bishop.
have
Do you think they'll do
Miss
Miles?
Marvel. I don't know. I don't know. But you have Miss Marvel, and she's coming out in her show, and in Captain Marvel 2. And then you have the two kids, Wiccan and Speed.
Yeah, it's possible, but I just feel weird that it's like,
And
all right,
potential
yeah,
Hulkling in
in
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. Yeah. That just feels weird that for her to go, okay, yeah, I accept my loss, but wait a minute, not my kids, and then she fucking has to put her kids back. That's gonna feel like backstepping a bit. So
That's why I
guess,
still believe in Mephisto.
yeah, I'll have to see how that's gonna be.
That's why I'm still on the Mephisto train, because why would the kids be screaming out for help if they quote unquote don't exist? Like somebody's trying to get her, or the kids actually do exist, or something,
Yeah, we'll have to see where they're going with that.
There's another entity there going on, because apparently she unlocked something when she became her ultimate self. Because that's what Agatha says at the end. She's like, "Oh, you unleashed something you don't even know."
Well, yeah, it's just her power to do anything.
No, but I took it as she unlocked something. She unlocked herself, but by unlocking herself, she opens the door to somebody else.
To getting attacked by something. Like Mephisto. Mephisto's like, oh shit, Scarlet Witch is out. All right, maybe.
Yeah. Time for me to come out of hiding.
That does make pretty good sense. That it's like, oh, now I feel my. Yeah, because we didn't get the full story of the Scarlet Witch prophecy. We just said that she's made. She's not born. She's made, and then she's like all powerful, and that's it.
She's forged.
Yeah. And then all the other witches were like, we got to kill whoever that is. And then that's why the whole Agatha thing happened.
Yeah, and the whole Agatha thing is like, how did she get a hold of the Darkhold? Who gave it to her?
Right.
Somebody must have given it to her. I don't think she got it out of nowhere. So like,
maybe she
that's
stole it
another
from
thing about
Doctor
Agatha.
Strange's library.
Probably it could be various things, but somehow, some way, she got the book from someone, from something, or somewhere.
Cool.
And that's why the witches were trying to kill her, because she's like, oh, you're fucking with shit that you shouldn't be fucking with. So we gotta kill you, so you won't keep doing it, because you're gonna end up unlocking something.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. That's what I think. I watched too much videos.
yeah, I got a feeling you did, but you put some good points in there. So especially that last one. I was like, you might be onto something there. Cool.
All right. Anyways, well, ladies and gents, hope you enjoyed this episode of WandaVision review from Popcorn Heroes, an MCU story at Disney Plus, or at Disney Plus, whatever you want to say. Let us know what you thought about the episode, the show. What are your theories? Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Let us know. Till next time.
Bye-bye.